The following advertisement has been paid for by the Big Guy Ryback. Are you hungry? You know I'm so hungry, Big Guy. Hey, Mark, what brings you here? So I'm just here to hang out with my all-time favorite superstar of all time. What brings you here? Well, I'm doing a paid advertisement for Feed Me More Nutrition, available at feedmemore.com. Big Guy, that is music to my ears. Did you tell the people about your Ice So Hungry grass-fed whey protein isolate, the best tasting protein on the market? Wake up unlimited energy, the strongest pre-workout on the market, and the Big Guy all-natural testosterone booster, my personal fave. Big Guy, you're on to something with this Feed Me More Nutrition. It is some top quality stuff. Well, thank you, Mark. It is. Feed Me More Nutrition. Premium, quality, the highest quality supplements on the market today. Available now at feedmemore.com. But wait, there's more. Just for being a listener of Conversation with the Big Guy, you can now save 10%. That's right, save 10% at feedmemore.com on all Feed Me More merchandise and apparel and Feed Me More Nutrition with discount code PODCAST10. PODCAST10. Podcast 10. Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, and right now, I'd like to introduce...
Whoa. A guy who lost his smile. A guy who took his brain and walked away from millions of dollars. He hails from Sin City. Damn it! That's enough for you two! Shut up! You're I think he said we're fired. Shut up! Pat, slap my ass! It's time for Conversation with the Big Guy, pal!
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including all Feed Me More Nutrition with coupon MEMORIAL25. That's 25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including Feed Me More Nutrition with coupon code MEMORIAL25.
Welcome to Conversation with the Big Guy. I am the Big Guy Ryback, and I'm sitting here with the one, Pat Buck.
I'm excited today. Today's a very special edition of Conversation with the Big Guy. I am Pat Buck. Before we begin, we've had a hell of a week, and there's a lot to talk about. Do you have anything you'd like to mention?
As far as what? I quit the Indies?
After today.
Done. Finish it. Done. Just fucking done. No, it has been that's a joke, everybody, but that the headline has been made, so we will give them their headlines.
Ryback quits Indies with no other information. That's it.
No other information. ... Quits. Oh my God, what a day. I'm in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania now. I've after no showing my big event tonight and for Northeast Wrestling, which we'll talk about in great detail, just because that's the perception now after giving an honest answer of the situation. But we will break that down for our listeners, and only our listeners, because everybody else just reads headlines.
Yeah, that's it.
And goddamn stupid Ryback. All right, let's keep to the format this week and get some plug skis in. Even though I don't have my normal notes, I got this on the back of a laundry Hilton list, as you can see. Only the finest for the Big Guy here at the Hilton.
I heard you racked up a $1,500 room service bill for...
Our good buddies out here said the Big Guy, put anything you want on the tab, according to you. So I went ahead and ordered a nice meal and a six-pack of Coors Lights tonight. Not six-pack, 6 bottles, I should say. So, yeah, because it's been a long day, which we're gonna talk about all that. I'm functioning on, I think, 3 hours of sleep and a long drive from earlier in the day, but we made it. We're here. I got a nice steak and chicken and asparagus meal, and I'm a couple beers in. I'm feeling feeling good, so we'll go ahead and the show must go on. Guys, for all fan mail for the big guy Ryback, please send it to P.O. Box 752-740, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89136. 1 to 2 cards or pictures, guys, please, and I will get those back to you as soon as I can. Feed Me More Nutrition, available now at feedmemore.com and I'llPumpYouUp.com, and Spartan Nutrition in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Check out feedmemore.com. We have some great specials going on all the Feed Me More Nutrition. Wake Up, It's Feeding Time, the motivational book by the big guy Ryback, available on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and Audible form. Feeding Time 2.0, available on iTunes. And Fuel Meals, the personal meals of the big guy, the meal prep service that I use. You can save 10% on that with discount code The Big Guy. Check out Conversation with the Big Guy here on iTunes, and please review and share, guys. Let's keep that listener fan base growing. And this week, June 3rd, I'm going to be at the Niagara Falls Comic Con from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can get tickets at tix.extremetix.com. And that's it for me this week.
All right, CreativeProWrestling.com, June 3rd. We're going to be in St. James, Long Island. You want to come out and see the people I've trained put on a hell of a show, mixed in with a lot of, people like Guido and Danny Doring and all that fun stuff. CreativeProWrestling.com. The following week, Keyport, New Jersey, with old fake news Bennett. We got the Shockmaster making an appearance. We have a lot of fun stuff there. WrestleProOnline.com. And if you want to be a professional wrestler, CreativeProWrestling.com. I can train you. I can bring you into this awful, awful business. That's all I got.
Could you have Wade Barrett do his I'm afraid I've got some bad news at the show, and the Shockmaster just comes tumbling out through the curtain and somehow create a segment with those two? That's creative as fuck. I will look into that. I remember one time when I booked the Shockmaster, I think I'm the first person in history to book him as the Shockmaster, because he always comes as Tugboat. Yeah. And then one time I'm like, well, can you come as Shockmaster? And he's like, all right, I guess I'll do it. It'll be an extra $200. I'm like, that works for me. And he came and he had the Stormtrooper hat, and he's a big guy. And he had all those guys back then, they're all
monsters.
Yeah.
And he came and he's like
human beings.
He's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, I don't really know. So I had him walk through the curtain, and I just did the voice, like the Arn Anderson thing, and I'm like, it's now time for intermission. And that was it. And he just did an autograph side. I swear to God.
You need old fake news Bennett to get ready to announce something really, really big and do that. I'm afraid I've got some bad news. And right when he gets into it, you just hear, ah! And crashing to the ground and through the curtain, and in which he just stares in awe, and he just gets up, puts the helmet back on, and goes to the back.
That's a great idea. Fuck.
It would get a great reaction, even talking about it beforehand. Who cares? Just go out and do it.
I like that we're starting this episode up. Before we have a lot to talk about. I think a lot of natural stuff to talk about, which is what makes this show different.
I thought we kind of had to get drunk and force ourselves to do this podcast every week.
We do.
This podcast is fucking hell. God damn, another fucking recording with Pat.
Oh man, it's funny though, because I'll get into it. But I was explaining why a couple people. I just switch around. Your schedule's been an issue this week. We'll get to that. All the fucking craziness that happened. Yeah. But a small little detail. I was trying to rearrange something for an appearance. Like, hey, can he take off early? And they're like, why can't you guys record this earlier in the day? I'm like, well, because we'll both be shit-faced drunk and not be able to carry out our work.
It's just one of those. I think you get in a routine, and if we absolutely had to
do a
podcast early, we definitely could do it.
Sure.
And it was, but that was taken into account. The normal travel was, the first half of the day was all traveling with an hour and a half drives to get to the show. Had it all gone normal, and in getting into the gym and doing my rehab stuff and getting a workout in, and it just would have been, it was not ideal. But we luckily were able to get it done tonight, because schedules tomorrow are a little crazy. But I was going to mention the the podcast from last week when
Yeah.
Ryback is sad and depressed, and I put it like because Eddie comes up with the headlines and everything for us, and
Yes.
I checked the Facebook, and there's like people were legitimately concerned for you, and I was like, Jesus, does anybody fucking listen? Or do they just read like, oh man, Ryback's depressed?
Oh no.
Like, it's like, can we joke about anything? No. You make one little joke about something with India, and all of a sudden the entire population thinks you're out against them, and it's like, guys, come on.
Well, let's address that before we go into the stuff this week. You are back at your top spot as the most polarizing internet figure, I believe. And as far as in
what poll is that? The past
no, I'm
poll?
just like they are. They have, you have been nailed to the cross as far as the way people portray you now.
Keep the nails coming. It's just keep fucking hammering them in, guys. How many nails can we get in the big guy? A lot. I got a big fucking body. I got some big fucking hands.
So for starters, before we get into this week, which they put you on the old cross for, but last, we talked about, I think, I forget what it was. We were speaking about India on a past episode, or about your experience in India.
No, I made a reference because the WWE merchandise sales were low according to some source in India. And we made a tongue-in-cheek joke where I said something, well, yeah, because India is poor, but they stopped it right there and didn't continue on with the conversation that we had where we talked about there's either they're really, really rich or really, really poor. There's really no middle class. Or that's the way, I've been there twice, and that's the way that it comes off.
That's what you've seen in your experience. You've seen that.
I've physically been there on multiple occasions and seen, and it's a very sad situation. I'm very sympathetic towards it. But never once did I attack the culture of India or the people of India. We made a joke about WWE not realizing that situation, and that's why. But then you get like bombarded by people that don't listen to the podcast, and they just read the clickbait from people and that are out with their agendas, like we said, and for whatever reason, and it's fine. That comes with doing a podcast, and people, like, good or bad, you're gonna get that all the time. But to have people just take little pieces and try to portray you in a whole other way, a whole other light, it's really disturbing at times. So it's like, luckily we have this where our listeners truly know, and you could tell the tone, how things come across and whatnot. But like, there's people out there say, oh, he's attacking the entire country of India, and just it is what it is. But never once was that ever discussed in that manner. And so, but what can you do? You just got to go. You got to roll the punches, and it's just.
And I think
wish people weren't like that, but
yeah, I mean, you kind of say what it is. What you've said has been mirrored by anyone who I've ever met that has gone to India, both inside and outside of wrestling, has verbatim said the same exact comments.
Yeah.
Is that necessarily truthful? That's what they're basing it on as far as their experience. The one thing that
experience, yeah.
The one thing I got to say though is with if you notice a lot of the headlines, the one who does do right by us, his name is Peter Bahi, actually writes the legit transcript of what happens. But even when he writes it, I notice that there's a shift in who creates the headline for it and who, for example, again from last week's episode, or I don't know if this was from last week's. I don't know if it was 2 weeks ago with the India. I don't remember that. With the other headline that you were up for with Ryback says independent
we'll get into
wrestling.
all that, yeah. And it was just they didn't include the part where we said I'm not talking about all independent wrestlers, and it's just.
Well, if you click on the actual article and actually read verbatim, a lot of people are like, "Wow, they understand the point, they understand the thought."
Oh, I got messages from a lot of wrestlers and a lot of people that within the business and just old timers that I've seen at shows. Right on, that was 100% dead on. Not saying everyone has their own opinion on, but I don't see how you can argue with people not selling because that does exist I put over the athleticism. I love all that stuff. I'm learning to do backflips myself and those things because I think they have their plate. So it's like people aren't listening to the full content, and they just take a little select clip and then form their own opinion based on that small little section without taking in the whole thing. And it's just that's the way our society is.
Do you think that's it? See, I don't think it is. I think they actually understand what you're saying, but they just will twist it to get the most attention, the most clicks, the most whatever. It's
Oh,
not
the people
even...
yeah. Oh, absolutely. They go for the headline clickbait 100%. And I told you there were even people that did that. They had a transcript of it, and it wasn't the full one. It was the parts that he wanted to put in there, and then the guy was giving his own opinions, attacking me.
Really?
And just yeah. And it's just, I forget. I'm not even going to say the name of the thing. And I was like, man, it's unfortunate. But yeah, that just comes with the territory. So
sure,
it's like I said, just keep plugging away, keep doing our thing. I'm happy, and it's like they could go fuck off.
Yeah,
it's people that are clueless that don't have any ideas. So.
Well, let's get to this week, because, I mean, we mentioned that. We if you want to hear the comments, we basically talk about the Rip Rogers, Randy Orton, independent wrestling comments, with people, different thing. And you can get a lot from that episode. It's in the archives. But moving forward, man, what a fucking week, man. I feel like this is this is a failure for me, even though, like, I still can't take full accountability for it. But my God, man, if people only knew that you said about you are living the true independent wrestler life right now in terms of fucking craziness that you're dealing with this week.
Yeah, no, that's just something you're going to have your ups and downs. And it's been a good week on other accounts on things. And then we came into a little bit of travel difficulties from the very beginning. With this triple shot, it was, Chattanooga to New York to Pennsylvania, and where I'm currently at for tomorrow's show, where I'm at right now in Harrisburg.
Maybe I can give a little background to this, how this came up.
Oh yeah, please let's set this all up.
So, I obviously am the old manager agent persona, and I've mentioned this on a
your fee to
collect my fee, my 45%.
No. That's what my taxes say.
So things get really challenging. Sometimes there'll be a week without a booking. Sometimes there'll be one. Sometimes there'll be three. This is a 3-shot week. This is a triple shot, which is the hardest part. This is the reason why independent wrestling is very difficult, because if you have
Don't you talk bad about independent wrestling, Pat. Don't you dare.
See, what you're doing is that you have... It's either going to be someone, quote, an agent or manager doing it for the person, or them doing it themselves. But how do you break it down where you're working for 3 different places? Who's responsible for travel? You're going from Chattanooga to Newburgh, New York, to, I believe, Harrison, Pennsylvania. Is that it?
Harrisburg,
Pennsylvania.
Right outside Hershey, connected to Hershey pretty much.
3-shot week coming in from Vegas. Now, take into consideration all the time... the time zones, the flight accommodations, the hotel situation, the bookings, what they have to do with that. Now, that's a lot to handle.
I require a plane all by myself also, which is not quite easily accommodated. But only I could be on the plane, personal charter.
Oh, man. You're pretty easy going with the flight, dare I say. People, like, there's, You're pretty considerate on
I don't need the first class. I get upgraded on sometimes, like I have status a little, with the different airlines. But I've just I had a middle seat on this one out, because we had to rebook, which we'll talk about all that last minute. And it wasn't necessarily the most comfortable. I've just learned to just kind of roll the punches on things and try to just keep a positive attitude. Don't get me wrong. If it was the 5 days a week, and it's like it could get really frustrating really quick. But since it's spaced out a little more now, I kind of have time to recharge between flights.
Yeah.
So it's not quite as stressful as it used to be.
So basically, the Thursday night appearance was in where you fly into Chattanooga. It's actually it's in Ringgold, Georgia. So it's about, I don't know, a 20-minute drive to the venue. And what I liked about this is, in pro wrestling, independent wrestling, you don't get a whole lot of Thursday bookings. They're very rare.
It might have been my first one.
I think outside of the tours in England, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about those.
Not many people. And occasionally on a summertime, you'll get a Thursday show, but not too often. So
Taboo Tuesday every once in a while, too.
That'd be, you never know. So
Wild Wednesday.
We got hit up by the promoter who, we could say his name. I won't say anything ill will towards him just yet.
No need for that.
Not yet. We'll see if see if that PayPal payment comes in, pal. Nature Boy Paul Lee is. Woo! If you don't know Nature Boy Paul Lee, you can look him up on YouTube.
God, shitty woos. Mine, not his.
Much in the like of kind of like a Buddy Landell. He's basically a, dare I say, an impersonation of Ric Flair.
Don't you dare say that. If he hears this, you're fucking dead.
Although his Twitter handle is The Real Nature Boy, which I found out.
He's been endorsed by Ric Flair, I believe.
There is a YouTube clip online where he has Ric Flair. I wonder what Flair made for that, but
yeah, I would love to know that. Actually, that is just did it out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah, totally free. So Nature Boy hits me up, and mind you, he reminds me a bit of. I think we talked about this before.
I love you. Can we just call him Fake Nate?
Fake Nate.
Fake Nate. I can't call him Nature Boy.
So Fake Nate hits me up, and I believe he has my number from somebody else. But at the end of every text, he writes "woo." He reminds me of Will Ferrell's character in Eastbound and Down, the car salesman. That's
100%. That is best way to describe him. 100%.
So
that's great. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
He tells me about this show. Everything's good. He got the deposit in. The airfare was booked early, which we'll explain. And he was a little upset because you're recovering from the shoulder thing that he didn't get to work in the old main events against you. So
yeah, he was supposed to wrestle me, right?
He was, and at the end of it, he was going to get his heat back by giving you a low blow and setting up for that.
He got the low blow in last night still against Buff Bagwell, my replacement, Buff Bagwell. So it was I could tell he's big on getting those low blows in. Which he kicked out Buff's hip. Jesus, his hip replacement. By the way, I just had shoulder surgery, the 2 stem cell procedures. I'm out for another month or two, hopefully only a month. I go to the doctor next week, which we'll talk about more. But my replacement for this show is a guy who's had a shoulder replacement and a hip replacement in the last year and a half. And me and Buff were talking, which it's the first time me and him have ever really – I've met him one other time. Yeah. This was our first time ever really just shooting the shit and talking. And he's super nice, and it was really cool to be able to talk to him. But I'm just thinking in my head, man, he's showing me his shoulder and the limitations of it. Meanwhile, I'm 2 weeks after stem cells, my shoulder is feeling better than ever, and I feel like the biggest piece of shit. That I was but I'm not cleared to wrestle yet. So
yeah,
but old Buff filled in for me and did a hell of a job.
Buff, nice man, great guy.
Awesome. So glad to meet him.
So he was a little annoyed that, he couldn't get to wrestle you, but we worked it out. Everything was okay. Now, mind you, triple shot weekends, Georgia to New York to Pennsylvania. So, now I tell people this too. It's safer, since you're a West Coast guy, to fly you in the night before. He did,
which I'm totally fine with.
It's just kind of an easy thing. He sent me the information. It was a red-eye flight. And when you book a red-eye flight, for those that haven't done it before, you actually sometimes can see the date carry over to the next day. And it could be a little confusing.
Yeah.
But using common sense based on every red flight I've ever taken in my life, or booked for you, or booked for another talent, which I have for hundreds on my shows, I didn't notice this one detail. And the one detail was he actually booked a red-eye flight for 2 days prior, not the night before. So
Fake Nate wanted the big guy in Chattanooga for an entire day, 8 a.m. the day before the show, which neither of us were aware of, and which I looked at the travel on it, and I just assumed it's Wednesday night because that's why you take a red eye to get in. You don't take a red eye 2 days before to get in the morning, day before the show. I mean, I love Tennessee, but I have quite a bit going on at home. I'm not trying to spend a day in Chattanooga when I could be at home in Vegas.
So I woke up that morning to a text, hey, did Ryback miss his flight? Or I'm on the way to the airport right now. I'm like, what are you talking about? The flight is tonight. And then I looked, I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Did he have the woo after that message?
I think it comes automatically. It just says woo.
Okay. I thought if he was a little mad, it might not have come on that one.
And so no woos on this one. It was very concerning for me because I was like, oh, fuck. Because I actually didn't know. I'm like, maybe you caught it. Maybe you are on the flight. But I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I saw a Snapchat. I think he was in his jacuzzi last night. I don't think he was on the flight.
I was eating bacon and eggs when you messaged me with my dogs.
So
did you know your flight was last night? No, it's tonight. It's Wednesday. I've looked at the thing. No, it was last night. Why the fuck would the guy fly me in 2 days before the show?
And also from booking these, for those that don't know, if you miss your outgoing flight, your second flight or return flight is going to be canceled. So I was panicking with that, and I said, he missed, he's not there. Why did you do this? I go, but you know what? Whatever. I'm like, this is my fault. I'm like, I will book a new flight. So I booked a flight for that night, appropriate. And I asked him, I said, hey man, just to make sure that second flight where he goes to his second booking, that's exactly the same. Yes, it's completely fine. I booked them separately. I went, that's very smart.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Fast forward, you do the events. I don't know if there's anything you want to take from the old Ringgold, Georgia appearance.
No, it was a great show. I had a lot of fun. Got to meet a lot of the fans. They had a really good turnout, and saw Johnny Swinger. I hadn't seen him in quite a long time. He was in Deep South Wrestling
Deep South.
with me.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to see him and catch up a little bit. And I'm trying to think if there was Tracy Smothers, who I actually had seen when I was released back when I was in developmental and did a couple shots in Tennessee. I remember meeting him down there, and I hadn't seen him since. Let's
just remind people that you did independent bookings because a lot of people listening, they don't listen to the first couple episodes. We get a lot of bigger crowd now. That you did independent gigs upon your first release with WWE. You had some indie cred.
It didn't last long though. the Gorilla Man or Silverback had a few appearances, but then at the time I had the old big Nissan Titan and
a lot of gas.
I was like a lot of gas and gas. That's when gas was really expensive. That we had that brief run in Louisville. It was really bad, but I'll never forget. It was it was like the reality hitting me really hard because it was like for going down because it was just developmental. So you don't have the value you have from when you're on TV essentially. So it might have been, I don't know if it was for $100 or $125 for a couple of the shots in Tennessee. And to go down there and I remember stopping and getting like a couple subs from Subway and gas. And then I had like the little Polaroid camera to do pictures and everything at the gimmick table. And I remember when I got back, I was like negative like $35
there you go.
From the entire, I was like, oh yeah, I go, man, this isn't going to pay the bills. I got to go get a job. And that's when I kind of fell into a rut where I started, you talked about it obviously in past, the archives early on, the origins of this entire thing. But where I went into the little bit of a depression and hit rock bottom, so to speak, and then dug my way out of the trenches, climbed my way out of the trenches, I should say. But it was, it was a cool experience. But it was, I realized really early on, like, yep, I'm going to have to, absolutely. At that point in time, coming from all I knew was from the developmental system. And I was trying to do it all of myself, too, and I was getting people canceled. I remember I had a lot of bookings.
Yeah.
I was doing it myself, and then they all just started canceling, and I kind of experienced that, where it was like nothing was really reliable at that point in time for me.
Sure.
And it was, and I didn't know anyone to have that handle that for me at the time, or I wasn't savvy enough to. I was just I think shell shocked literally over the entire thing. Time was the only thing that was going to get me out of that. So,
and I think that still happens to a lot of guys that will leave, that just go to developmental, even NXT now, where they'll leave there, and then they kind of massively, even a lot of WWE people, if you're not put in the right position, they leave and they're like, oh my God, this is what independents are all about, unless you know how to navigate through. Man, it could be
this way. It's been a pleasure now. I love it now, but it's it was a whole other experience at that time, and I was just in a whole different place mentally, and I was a lot younger, and it was a great learning experience. So,
Sure. So we had that, you saw, and Tracy Smothers will be on my June 10th show at WrestleProOnline.com.
hell yeah, that's
So
awesome.
you get through the events, everything goes just fine, and the next morning, which was this morning, I woke up to you. And normally, I don't have to. I just hear from you late in the day, like, "Oh, I'm on my way to the show," or "What time do I got to be there?" or whatever. And you're like, "Hey, what's the deal with my flight?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" First I look at it. I wake up. I scroll through.
Because you sent me the itinerary pretty much for the entire of the breakdown of it. This flight, and I just go down. Okay, this day, airport 9:30 a.m. flight, American flight. I came in 9:30 to 10:40 to Newark, straight direct, easy day, easy travel day. Up at 7 a.m. I slept. I had trouble. Unfortunately took my Wake Up Unlimited Energy. I got just to backtrack real quick.
Sure.
I got in on the red eye. I ended up having a middle seat on the red eye all the way in to Charlotte.
Oh, boy.
Then connecting, and it's like a little under a 4-hour flight, and middle seats I could do window or aisle. I prefer aisle. Window I could make work because I could kind of turn a little bit and get the shoulder space. Middle, I'm fucked, and it's just the guy to the left of me was a bigger guy, and the woman was a bigger woman, and so it was just skin on skin, body heat just increasing by the minute. Like, I could feel the other guy's sweat on my arm, and I'm sure I'm sweating on him. I feel the lady's arms sweating on me. It's just body heat all around, and I give off a lot of heat as it is. And it's just like I have the air blasting on me, but it's not helping. And I got maybe like 2.5 hours, maybe a tad more, but it was broken up. And so I got in dead exhausted, and I got into the hotel in Chattanooga, and because I was planning on coming in, sleeping for a couple hours and getting up and go work out and do my rehab stuff. I was just so exhausted. I slept till like 3 o'clock, woke up, took a scoop of my pre-workout, and like did a little stretching and everything in the hotel room. But I took it too late in the day. I was wired. I stayed up for 4 hours last night just trying to maybe you told me you took it before, too late in the day. It's like I have to take it usually morning or early afternoon, and it's golden.
Wow.
But I took it too late, and I took it on an empty stomach, which hits if you have the Wake Up Unlimited Energy and you take that on an empty stomach, it hits you. It lasts for a long, long time. I don't know what it is, but with food, it kind of helps control the tempo of it. But without it, it hits you hard early on, but it just stays. And didn't sleep well. So I was at the airport this morning, and I was already a little flustered when I go to check in, and they're like, we don't have any direct flights to Newark from American. I go, oh, okay. And then they sent me over to the United counter, in which I stood there for 15 minutes with nobody there, and I'm just watching time go by, and I'm like, I need to check in for this 9:30 a.m. direct flight to Newark. They go get a lady in the back. She goes, we don't check people in within 4 hours until 4 hours of the flight. And I go, there's not a 9:30 to Newark? She goes, no, check with Delta. So I go to Delta. No, you're not booked with us. And then just, what the fuck do I message you? Like, I just confused and baffled. Like, what is going on?
So I read the messages, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I read, and I notice a discrepancy between the first, because I pieced together the itinerary, and that the first flight that was given was sent with the second flight. So I assume it's booked, it's safe, that's the travel. Now, mind you, there was the second flight that he sent me was incorrect, and it left an hour earlier than, or hour and a half or something earlier than what I was told.
Yeah.
And this is entirely on the promoter, and you're in Chattanooga, so there's no way.
Yeah.
We debated all options for those that think that, we were looking, okay, drive to Atlanta, fly to Atlanta. Now, mind you, it's also Memorial Day weekend, so it's a big holiday weekend. All the flights are booked up, and you're like...
That was the big problem. I'm literally checking. There was a 240-something out of Chattanooga direct to Newark, which would have been the best option, just simplicity-wise, even though it's in the morning, and I would have had to wait 4 or 5 hours, but that was the best option outside of that, and that flight was booked. And then they were looking for connections for me. I was at the airport an hour and a half this morning. We're going back and forth. What do we do? You're trying. I'm looking. Then let's look at, okay, what if I get a car and drive to Atlanta? And then we look at, no, they're all sold out. Then Birmingham. no, there's nothing to Birmingham. Everything was getting in too late to miss the meet and greet at the show.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? And because I told you, I go, this is bad. I go, I don't want to miss a show because I know how people are.
Yeah, you kind of knew. Like, a lot of times we can make the most out of bad situations. You're like, there's no way this is happening. I'm like, yeah.
Because I looked at the drive. The drive was over 13 hours, and that's not counting getting gas. You're looking at a 14-hour drive on that long of a trip,
sure.
at least. And that was getting me in too late, like well past when the show would be done. So I'm looking, and then there's just no flights, and I go, well, if I just get in the car and just start driving, Harrisburg's the same direction. At least I'm on the road and moving rather than just sitting in an airport.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can't chance. It was super tight. If we get to Atlanta, Atlanta's beyond fucking busy. And there's no, like, it's just nothing. It's Memorial Day weekend. It was bad. And I knew it from the start. But, I was angry because I was tired too. And I was just like, I'm just going to get in the road. I just got to get in the car and fucking start driving. I got to do something. I can't just sit here and then I ended up driving 10 hours and change today all the way to Harrisburg, in which I wanted to drive to the show to Newburgh because I felt bad, but it's like, I can't get there in time. So it's I go, you contacted Big Mike with Northeast Wrestling. And again, I'll apologize here to everyone that attended Northeast Wrestling this past weekend that I, due to the circumstances with the travel that were outside of my control and your control, that it was not possible, and these things happen occasionally, even though I've been pretty good throughout my career of not missing shows.
Yeah.
And, issued an apology online. And like I told you earlier, like there was like some backlash from fans and people and I'm just like, man, you can't even.
They don't understand anything. Yeah, they're just.
I just fucking drove 10 hours to make sure I can get to this show for tomorrow and do our podcast for tonight and do tomorrow's show. And it's like, what do you? I honest and upfront about the situation, and then having to read people who have followed you loyally for 5 years talking shit about you online and saying you don't know how to handle your own fucking travel. It's like, guys, you be a mature human being, a grown up, not but they can't. So it's just unfortunate, and but I'll apologize once again. And unfortunately, that was outside of my control and your control. And I wish Fake Nate would make the situation right, because it's fucked up.
Yeah.
And I told you it makes me look bad out of all this, and I said that was.
And I didn't really know what you meant by first, but now I see it. I was like, okay, I get it. Like, every wrestler wants to make their bookings that cares, wants to make their appearance. But then after looking on your retweets and going, man, what the fuck is wrong with people? Like,
people look for any reason, I'm telling you, to just hate on me, and it's not just me; it's a lot of people. But it's just like you try to do the right thing. And it's just, you're never going to appease everyone, and it's just the way that it is. But it's just it just sucks, because anybody that knows me knows the truth. It's the people that don't know, and they're just so misinformed and misguided, and it sucks. But that's the truth of the situation, and unfortunately, it was outside of our control. But I even told I was like, I would have drove 14 hours to make it if I could have got there in time today.
Yeah, you would have.
I drove 10, like on no sleep, fucking falling asleep at the wheel. It's just like, you can't. It's just like, fuck off. I'm not even. If people that know me, the ones that don't, I don't. Fuck off.
And for those at Northeast Wrestling, you'll be back there on June 10th, July 15th. You're there in August. You're there in that area often. And the promoter, I got to put over Mike Lombardi, was more than cooperative. He was looking for flights. It was, we all tried very hard. So Fake Nate, you better fucking make this right.
Woo!
All right.
Oh, man. With that, why don't we go ahead and we'll take our first break of the show, and we'll be right back after these messages.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including all Feed Me More nutrition with coupon MEMORIAL25. That's 25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including Feed Me More nutrition with coupon code MEMORIAL25.
Hey everyone, in addition to being the co-host of this podcast, I'm the founder and promoter of WrestlePro. Dare I say, WrestlePro puts on the best professional wrestling live events in the country. We're also fully insured and licensed. Now, if you're listening to the show then you clearly love professional wrestling, and I appreciate that. But I also have a question for you. Would you like professional wrestling in your area, maybe in your hometown, your high school, your college, your civic center, your stadium? Whatever you want. If you're a civic group, a sports team, a fire department, a police department, if you have a corporate event, a festival, any group that is looking to raise funds or put on an entertaining show, WrestlePro is your promotion. This is not your regular wrestling show. Just in the last year, WrestlePro has brought in incredible talent such as Terry Funk, DDP, Booker T, Ryback, Cody Rhodes, Hornswoggle, Colt Cabana, Brian Cage, Jeff Jarrett, Tommy Dreamer, the Hardy Boys, Scott Steiner, and much, much more. Even the Nature Boy Ric Flair has been with WrestlePro and loves it. Tell him, Nate.
It's the Nature Boy. Woo! Ric Flair, Russell Pro, the Nature Boy, signing autographs. Look as only he can look. Russell Pro, be there. Woo, 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 woo. Limousine riding, jet flying. Woo! Russell Pro. Woo!
If you're seriously interested, WrestlePro can bring a live wrestling show to your town. A full professional wrestling card complete with talent, 8 matches, sound system, lighting, the works. We design the artwork and posters. We help you sell the tickets. We push all of our events all over our social media. We believe in good repeat business. Packages and prices vary on talent requested and their availability. For more information, contact me directly at WrestleProOnline@yahoo.com or simply check out www.WrestleProOnline.com and you can see our past and upcoming events to get a taste of what WrestlePro is all about. I hope to hear from you soon.
And we're back. So what's going on this week with you outside of everything going on with me and all my problems?
Yeah, well, I got to say, your problems, I think, I'm not kidding you. I feel like the last 36 hours have been a bit of a panic attack. Like, I feel like that stress, when you know what it is, when you can't fix something yourself, when you leave that responsibility in the hands of someone else and they just fuck it up. I've come to realize that if you or Wade or whoever else I'm in charge of their stuff, I got to book for multiple travel dates. I got to book this shit or else it's going to fuck up.
I told you everything we just learned as we go. That's all we could do. We lesson learned. Never let fake Nate book anything ever again. Woo! But in good news, I will say, ladies and gentlemen, Feed Me More Nutrition has been approved.
Wait. Drum roll, Eddie. Insert a drum roll.
Drum roll. Get that drum roll, Eddie. Ladies and gentlemen, Feed Me More Nutrition has finally been approved on Amazon.
Wow.
Yay.
Fireworks.
Happy noises. In bad news, they've yet to send the goddamn wire transfer to charge me the $3,000. It was supposed to be to me. I got approved last Sunday after an hour and 40-minute phone call, which I couldn't take it anymore. I said, I'm not getting off this phone until I fix this situation. And it's been already over 10 phone calls. I finally got an American woman on the phone because it's usually people in other countries, I feel like. It was finally an American woman who was sympathetic to the situation of me losing out on possibly upwards of $20,000, if not more, actually, with the global sales. And she going, Jesus Christ, you poor thing. Jesus Christ. And I go, well, yeah, I go, I don't understand. I go, the communication is so bad with you guys. I said, I just keep calling and submitting.
Might be one of the best companies in the world, perception-wise. Like, everybody uses it.
Yeah, love it. I use it all the time. But their customer service for the sellers, for me, has not been a good experience. And I ended up, so the woman kept having to put me on hold for long periods of time and had to look at everything. She goes, all your documents are completely fine. I said, I know. But she explained to me so early on, because I had the name change earlier this year.
Okay.
So my documents from the manufacturer had Ryan Reeves on it, but my Amazon seller account had Ryback Reeves on it.
Is that what it was?
So all the documents that we submitted with Ryan Reeves, they voided those out, even though they kept telling me, no, you need to change your name to match your seller account, but they red flagged me. So rather than just telling me, we're just going to keep denying you for no reason, but we're going to tell you other reasons are wrong with it. But you don't. But you're not supposed to change it because it should just match the first time. Well, no, guys, I legally had my name changed. I could send the proper documentation.
Sure.
All that, but it's just different associate after different associate getting my paperwork and my documents. And the case history is all there, but they're not going and looking, oh, this guy just keeps getting denied. No, we'll fix this and send it back in. No, we'll send this document in. We'll go ahead and send those FDA papers in. And then it's like I'm sending everything in over and over and over again. Every information was all correct, and they just kept denying it. But rather than it was voided out. It red flagged from the very first week. So rather than just tell me that week one, and get a supervisor on the phone to just fix the situation. Oh no, your documents are right. You did have your name legally changed. Let's get this approved for you. They let it go on for 6 weeks until I called the lady. She finally went and got a specialist for me, which nobody else said existed the last 6 weeks. And they had me resubmit everything again, and they approved me because everything was correct. And then they go, you have to pay $3,000 now within 24 to 48 hours. You'll have the Amazon support team will contact you with the wire transfer information. In which I go, I would appreciate it. I go, it's been 6 weeks. I've lost a lot of money over this. I think it's kind of fucked up that you're charging me $3,000 for this convenience. Yeah. And she even agreed, which she put a note in there. And guess what? It's now going on Friday. We're doing this podcast. I had to call them again during the show last night and on the phone again, which they sent me an email that somebody would be getting back to me by Sunday with the payment. But they put in there to possibly void out the $3,000 for this trouble. But I don't know yet because they haven't. It's just been a hellacious experience as far as, having a new business, and you just want everything to go well. And you're going to have your growing pains, and it sucks when things are out of your hands, though. It's like, but we're finally approved. I'm hoping by the time this comes out, the listings are back up. If not, hopefully this week. So, but again, I'll be making all those announcements on social media. It's just, I want to bang my head against the wall sometimes. And like you said, it's all these problems come around from, it's all on me now. But when you own your own company and you do your own thing, and we handle our travel and this and that, it's other people's fuck ups become your fuck ups. Yeah, it's not like sure. I can't be like, well, fix this guy. You know what I mean? There's nobody. It's I have to take control, but a lot of it's just sitting and waiting and being patient and just repeating yourself time and time again. But everything's going to work out for the better, and it's been a good week on that note. So.
I mean, it's the same thing with the whole flight situation. When we didn't realize the red eye, I went, you know what? That's my fault. I should have asked. I should have made it clarify. I'll take that. So how do I solve it? I book a fucking brand new flight. I eat the cost. That's on me. And then when the second flight, I'm like, come on, man. But I know what you mean. If you fuck up, you just fucking man up to it. This wasn't,
In all fairness, so in that flight, though, I even told you, I wasn't mad at you one bit because I looked at the same thing. Yeah. It was red eyes are for the night before the show. They're never for 2 nights before. If they are, because the way the date was listed, it looked like it was for a Wednesday night. It's just the way, and it's because usually the date will carry over. It's weird how that works on red eyes, and it just was one of those things we both overlooked it. But because nobody flies you out 2 days before the show, or if they do, they let you know. Look, here's your travel, and it will say usually Tuesday, or you know what I mean, but.
Absolutely.
Luckily, I'm here in Harrisburg, and 2 for 3. If this was baseball, I'm in the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, it's not baseball, and I'm not in the fucking Hall of Fame.
Speaking of baseball, I went to a Mets game on Tuesday. Probably one of my only MLB appearances, and
really,
I felt spoiled. So I went with Hawkins. And it was actually funny. We got he knows one of the pitchers there, Wheeler, who's like a up and coming guy. I feel really bad. I don't know anything about baseball. We got to go in the batting practice into the dugout. Felt really fucking cool, man.
Really? And then I saw the picture of you two on Snapchat because he always posts pictures with everybody to look cool. But
we sat right behind home plate, like 2 marks. Just
that actually made me laugh really, really loud with your faces looking up at the foul ball going up.
Speaking of that, I didn't catch a foul ball, but a foul ball got hit to me, and it landed right next to me. It scared the shit out of me. And then I got it, and everyone was booing because they wanted the foul ball. There wasn't...
Wait, you got booed for getting the foul ball?
You could feel like everybody else, like they get disappointed when they don't get one.
Are
So
New York
then-
fans that fucking shitty?
Yeah,
I
of
feel like I've been
course.
to games my entire oh man.
I felt like in that situation they were just like, whatever. Like maybe they weren't booing, they were just like, but then I saw a kid 2 rows ahead of me and I'm like, hey, do you want this? And he's like, yeah. So I tossed it to him, standing ovation.
That's what I was hoping. When I go, as soon as I heard I would have grabbed the smallest, most feeble, innocent-looking child and held them up and shown the crowd that just fucking
Like Lion King, yeah.
celebrating this child ceremony with this amazing new baseball. But secretly saying "fuck you, all you miserable fucking pricks," while I smile, just holding this other person's baby as the mother and father look on in terror. Oh God, I hope he doesn't eat our child.
It was
Why is he saying "feed me more"?
it was great.
You
great
guys
time.
drink?
Yeah, we drank heavily, man.
You
we
have
got the
beer, right?
no, dude. They have a Tito's station in City Fields.
No way.
I swear to God, we got the drink was called the Sipper, the MLB Sipper, and it was a double Tito's
Sounds super.
with seltzer, a splash of cranberry, and I've something else, like a little bit of something else, and yeah, I drank about. I stayed keto. We're mostly keto. Maybe I'll explain that later on when we talk about fitness stuff. But yeah, man, had a great time. So thanks for Wheeler for hooking that up on the old Mets.
Oh, he got you guys tickets then.
Yeah, he's friends with. He apparently he follows you on Snapchat too. He actually told us because we were talking about something.
Really?
He's like, oh, this is my buddy Pat. And like, he's like, oh, are you in WWE? I'm like, no, I'm a wrestler or stuff like that. He goes, yeah, he does stuff. He manages Ryback too. He goes, oh yeah, I follow him on Snapchat.
That's pretty funny, actually.
We both laughed at that. We're like, oh, it's a small world.
Shout out to Wheeler on the Mets. Hell yeah. That's I always appreciate when people tell me they follow me on Snapchat and they like everyone loves Sophie and Sonny. They're the heroes.
stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling Priscilla the other day, like, it would be really funny if Sonny became a huge movie star and just wearing the little shades. He's just too cool for school, and he's the cutest fucking dog. Both of them are. Sophie's wild. He's like a little human though. He's a whole other breed of like unreal dog. I was just saying like, but she's like, yeah, he doesn't listen for shit though. He's so fucking stubborn. Unless he wants food or a walk, and then he'll baby you and be the best little dog in the world. He's like a miserable little old grumpy man. It's hilarious. he's 5 and he looks like he's 100 now already. Just his neck is getting turkey rolls in it, and I go, quit giving him fucking human food. She feeds him left and right. I look at, she's feeding him fucking yogurt. Like, I go, it's fucking yogurt. Like, what are you?
Yeah, that's
him?
not good. Yeah.
She goes. She doesn't feed him anything that's bad for him. She knows
Okay.
but I go, it's still those calories add up in his little tiny body. They just go right to his neck. We think we talked about it right before my groin surgery. I went to a Philadelphia Phillies game.
Okay.
And it was when I was with WWE, and it was awesome because all the fans started buying me the big Bud Light limes. They had the huge cans of the Bud Light.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I walked down, I had a couple cans of Bud Light lime. I was just planning on having 2 to 4 drinks throughout the game, but fans saw me with them and go, big guy. They started bringing me beers. I kid you not, there were between 12 and 15 cans of beer there by the end of the. And I hadn't finished all the cans people brought me. I couldn't. I was I could not get that much beer, and just I had surgery the next morning. I'm thinking, am I supposed to get this drunk before surgery?
Oh Jesus.
But I was it's already started. But I grew up playing baseball my entire life, which is probably why my shoulder already with everything, with the cartilage and everything being worn out like it was, that didn't help me, I'm sure, with all the weight training and wrestling. But it was cool to be able to watch because when I stopped, I got hurt. I hurt my foot. Did I ever tell you that in baseball? I walked on. That was kind of the sport. I loved football, but baseball was like the first real skill I learned as a kid, the sport. And I come from a baseball family. My uncle, Randy St. Clair, pitched in the major leagues. He was in the World Series with the Atlanta Braves, pitched for the Montreal Expos, was the pitching coach for the Washington Nationals for years. Florida Marlins, and he's just been around for a long time. And my mom's dad, Ebba St. Clair, was a catcher for the Braves.
Wow.
I believe when they were in Georgia. And so it kind of was like, and all her brothers were played in the minor leagues. And so I always kind of just felt like I was supposed to be a baseball player, just because that was, that was like it was just what I learned first. And I always did really well at it. And I ended up walking on my freshman year at the Community College of Southern Nevada, which they were ranked number 16th in the country, which a lot of people would go there to get drafted really early. So you don't go to school. Yeah, because you're eligible to get drafted a lot earlier than going to the 4-year schools, and because they're 2-year schools. And I walked on and made it. And but I was training. I remember I went to my old high school, Palo Verde High School, in Las Vegas at the time, and they had a really high fence. I was going to go run the track at night, just do conditioning stuff, and the fence was locked. And I go to jump over the fence, and I hit the ground. It was really, really high. I'll be fine. And I remember it felt like I sprained my foot, kind of my right foot, not the foot I broke my ankle on. It was my other one. And I go, fuck, that kind of hurt. Anyways, I ran. I did some shit. The pain never went away. And it just got worse and worse and worse. I fractured my foot, and I ended up having to redshirt my freshman year. And then the foot injury, I came back too soon again, and it re-aggravated it. And I was like, I kind of was starting to fall out of love with baseball at that time. And I was really into weight training, and I loved wrestling, and I didn't know. But it all was a blessing. But that was kind of the end of my baseball playing days.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I loved it, and it was. But I kind of, when I got into wrestling, I quit watching it because it was. I could watch it now and I'm fine because I made the decision to not pursue it anymore. But I always wondered because I did really enjoy playing it. It's much more fun to play than to watch. But it was that was the end of my baseball days.
Jeez. All right, I didn't know that. But I had a good time at the baseball games. The first one I kind of ever paid attention to. Last Saturday, or even last weekend, was a hell of a run for me. I wrestled for Tommy Dreamer's House of Hardcore on Friday night. That was a great show. Good time.
Who'd you wrestle?
It was a multi-man match, to which Dreamer's just like, hey, get your shit in. I'm like, okay. Me and Bull James, Rhett Titus, and Ben Ortiz, I believe. Just a multi-man match. We had some fun stuff. The next night I had my show, WrestlePro Online. WrestlePro in Rahway. Plugging it. If you want to see it, WrestleProOnline.com, or go to Title Match Wrestling and watch all the footage. You can sign up there. I had Cody on the show. Cody wrestled Joey Janela. The whole show was great. Probably had about 500 people, 500 to 600. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the crazy headline that came out with the fan? I don't know if you saw that stuff.
No, I didn't know. You mentioned just something right before we started this, and I said, what are you talking about? I didn't.
Yeah, so, Cody always does a meet and greet and stuff, and he you've done it before, he's done it before. Pictures in the ring after the show are a big hit normally. People want to get in that ring, take a picture. So he wrestled.
What it's like just to stand in the wrestling ring.
Yeah.
With a superstar. More so just to get in the ring. He didn't give two shits in the ring, yeah. If I was a kid, I would 100% just want to get in the ring.
Which is or
34.
Yeah, I did it last show. I was the last match, and me and Kevin Matthews at Starland Ballroom, we had a pretty good line, too. I was like, oh, God, if nobody gets in line, this is going to be really fucking bad. And then people started to line up. I'm like, yes, thank God.
If nobody lines up, all that you do is you get the camera, you take one picture of him, he takes one picture of you, you have someone take one picture of you guys together, and you get the fuck out of there. That's all you can do, just so you never forget that memory of nobody getting in your line to laugh when you're older.
That would have been way better.
Just stay busy for a brief second. What are they fucking doing? And then get the fuck out of there. Don't even look back. Just get out of the ring, fucking beeline right to the backstage.
So we had, after the show, Cody stays, he cuts a little promo, and then he's about to, normally he says what he has to say, fans go home happy, and then give the mic to the ring announcer, Dave. Old Dave Destruction's now been promoted to be, he's our full-time ring announcer now at WrestlePro. So,
okay, congratulations, Dave Destruction.
And then he'll plug, hey, we're doing photos in the ring, just to, helps with the bills, helps with everything. While Cody's cutting his promo, a fan who clearly might be, I think, was intoxicated.
Just get him. What would a fan be doing drunk at a wrestling show?
Well, it's a little weird because we don't serve beer at this one venue. You know, some of them we do in our Brooklyn venue and stuff like that. But he seems pretty hammered, so he heckles Cody, and Cody did a couple crazy things in his match. There was thumbtacks involved, there was all sorts of stuff, and he goes, "Hey Cody, how much to slam me on the tacks?" So then I'm watching, I'm like, this guy, whatever. And Cody, instead of just kind of playing it off, Cody thinks in his head, like, how am I going to respond to that? And he goes, "You know what? I'll do it. I'll slam you on the tacks, and I'll do it."
That's kind of risky, though, isn't it?
So, and I go, I'm like, wait a minute, what the fuck's happening here? And Cody goes, "You know what? I'll slam you on the tacks if all the money from the post-show photos in the ring goes to charity." And he goes, also, he's like, you will not sue WrestlePro. The guy's like, I won't sue anybody. So then I'm like, then Cody asks the crowd, what charity? And someone yells out, St. Jude. And he's like, all right. He's like, if WrestlePro's okay with it, you know, and then not only that, I will match the amounts. And I was like, I'm fine with this.
Secretly, he just takes the money backstage and leaves.
Well, that's what I'm like, one, this is a noble
old Ernie
gesture.
McCracken. That's an old trick from Ernie McCracken right there.
That's every independent, okay, people listening. If you see an independent wrestling thing where it's like proceeds go to, question that promotion, or it's like this show is for that. Wrestling's tough. Really question these donations to see where they're going. But
hey, I think tomorrow's show's for the Feed Me More food drive, which I don't know, which I have never heard of, so I assume that's me.
A Ryback's charity. It's to Sophie and Sonny.
Feed their little fat asses. I'm kidding, guys. We joke a lot on this show. Fuck.
So Cody does that, right? The guy walks to the ring, and he says again, you will not sue WrestlePro. He's like, I won't sue WrestlePro. I won't sue you. I give him the thumbs up. I'm like,
wonder how well that holds up in court.
Right? Well, at least it's on video. We'll see.
Yeah.
Cody picks the guy up, fucking body slams him, you know, the best he can with a guy being, you know, never took a body
How big was
slam.
the guy?
I'm going to guess in the 175, 185 pound, shorter man, I believe. He was shorter than Cody. He's probably like 5'8", 5'7".
Sloppy,
I don't know.
tough
Maybe
as
I'm wrong.
shit?
No, he seemed like he's just a normal dude. Normal dude drinking, having a good time, I feel like.
All right.
So he takes the body slam and he completely no-sells it. So he must be have some training. He got up and
Jesus.
No, I'm kidding. He did get up, and that's the one thing me and Cody said later.
I love him. He's a fully trained wrestler.
He's been doing this for 15 years.
He takes line of the night. That was great.
He takes the body slam.
You know, very rarely do I just lose. That was good.
Yeah. What's your goal? Sorry. He takes the body slam, gets up, no sells it, and I can see the look on Cody's face, like, man, this guy should have fucking sold. And everyone claps.
In his ear, sell this shit, just as he's slamming him. Sell this, you fat tub of shit.
We do the photos. We get the money. You know, Cody hands it to me, and he goes, how much is there? And then later that night, Cody PayPal'd me the same amount because he said he'd match it. And we put in a heck of a donation into the St. We put it up online, pictures of it, went right to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And
there wasn't a note on the bottom that said, please send this all back to me in 48 hours.
They didn't see the old cancellation after.
Winky face. What a gimmick. I'm going to start doing that at every show. Photos with the big guy, all proceeds go to your favorite charity. Make up something, and then it just secretly winky face on the PayPal every time. Back in 48 hours, winky face.
Just the arrows over the cancel transaction button, yeah.
Ryback filed 48 disputes this past year.
Oh, man. But that was... we did something nice there, and Cody's like, "What?" Cody's like, "I don't know what came over me." I'm like, "I don't know either, man. I thought I was going to get sued, but we're okay. We made the most out of."
I was going to say, true or false, Cody followed up after the no-selling body slam with 5 other moves.
No. Cody's, I think, more on the old side of selling stuff, I think. But he is.
No, he is, absolutely. I know he is, 100%.
Yeah.
Most guys are, so.
It was a nice night. It was a great moment. A lot of publicity for old WrestlePro, and you can get that at Title Match Wrestling, who supplies all the footage for us. But that was so that was the weekend. I'll transition here. I'm healthy again, and I got to put over the keto diet. I don't know if we want to go in this direction, but
I'm up for anything.
I was really blown away because, like, as I mentioned, I've had my health issues. I had the old staph infection. I had cholesterol that I shouldn't have had, that was out of range. And I had my blood work done on Tuesday, to which my doctor called me the following day and was going over my numbers with me. And within a matter of a month, I restored my healthy cholesterol, which was dangerously low at 17. The normal number is 40. It's now at 62. And my bad cholesterol, even though they're like, oh, we want to get this a little bit lower, dropped 50 points. And I take that all, I'm working out the same way, same amount of cardio, same amount of weightlifting, but all because of the diet. So if you want proof that the keto diet could drop your cholesterol, proof right there. I was really thrilled that I'm a healthy man.
Yeah, you messaged me that, and we talked about that. I told you about that maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, that the keto diet has actually been shown to improve cholesterol. It's a weird thing that even though you're eating more fats, and obviously everyone's fat intake is different, and you want to try to keep your fat. Like, I do a lot of coconut oil and stuff too, but I get a lot of animal fats too as well. And but when you do the fats without carbs, it just somehow has a different effect on your body, because a lot of people thought like high fat equaled high cholesterol. It's not the case necessarily.
No.
And, obviously, you should always consult with your physician before you make any dietary changes. But the keto diet has a lot of positive benefits. I just know I function very, very well now that I'm used to it. Where I told you that first month I was dead tired.
Yeah, it sucks.
And when your body has to learn how to use fat for energy, and I feel like it's once you make that switch, and carb days, I even notice on my carb days now, I don't go crazy like I would think I would. It's like I could have just one carb meal and be completely satisfied. And where at first when I had those carb days, I had to have carbs all day long, or it's where it's now I could do one meal or one really big meal or a meal followed by a smaller meal. I'm like, I'm good. I don't feel like I really want any more. But it's cool. You got to sometimes have more. It's just good to replenish your glycogen stores on those days. But you'll find after you go into ketosis, you go back into it quicker after your carb days, where it takes a while to go into it initially. Once you kind of hit it, it just stays, unless you just started doing carb day after carb day all the time. But it's I'm looking forward to seeing what I can look like on this now that I just started working out 2 days ago, which it sucks today. I had to drive all day. I told you I had to stop. I was falling asleep at the wheel, and I had to get out at a 7-Eleven and gas up. And by gas up, I mean shoot up with steroids.
I got a 4-hour ride.
Yeah, I got to fucking
testosterone.
That's, by the way, I saw a comment on which we'll talk about more with gender and stuff here, but where a fan, we've talked about, like I said on the podcast, we talk about everything very honestly here. Everything is my truth, and I'm very upfront and honest with my listeners, and I give you everything from my perspective. Does it make it 100% how someone else sees it? Maybe not, but from my shoes and from a lot of others.
As our buddy Conrad Thompson says, you have no filter. You say it like it is. So
yeah, and I feel like that's the best way to be. And I don't live in fear, and I think that's the greatest way to live your life. But some people still they take things and they fuck it up. And we talked about I did steroids in my early 20s for a few years. The majority of professional wrestlers have done steroids. Not saying today's, but throughout the history of wrestling, and in all sports, guys, they exist. And
absolutely.
For my entire WWE run, they were not a thing outside of being on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, which is not being on steroids. and abusing steroids. It's being medically supervised to have normal testosterone levels. But there was a fan that had, had made a comment about Jinder and saying it's all right because Ryback admitted to being on steroids for his entire WWE run. And it's just amazing how people, you give them the truth of something and you're very honest and upfront with it, and they're not intelligent enough to understand that. And you have people out there. It sucks because with social media and the outreach that different people can have, the reach different people can have, they can spew utter bullshit, and it just sucks. But that caught my attention this week. I'm like, Jesus Christ, fucking blocked, you stupid fucking loser.
I think it's really awesome that Jinder is now. Someone said it to me. I think it's the best way to put it. That Jinder being champion is the reason why someone can still have faith in pro wrestling, or that when stuff like that happens, that's what makes wrestling awesome. And I kind of agree that the fact that someone refreshing is champion, I think it's incredible. It's great. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how you feel.
Congratulations to Jinder Mahal. And that's the other thing with that, again, with people I make a comment on the podcast how many ever weeks ago, months ago, before they ever did it, we're doing anything with him. I think it was the week or two before they started that whole thing with him.
Okay.
And I made a reference to the gyno, where you don't get that from drinking protein shakes because he never had it before. But never once said Jinder Mahal is taking steroids. Never once said it. But then that was the headlines. Ryback accuses Jinder Mahal of steroids, and people. And it sucks because people read that, they don't listen to the podcast and hear things. And I've always liked Jinder. Jinder and me have always gotten along and everything. But people take their little thing and put their spin on it and put words that they want to put in the headlines to get people to click on it. It just fucking sucks. But congratulations to him. And whatever the reasons WWE did it, it doesn't matter. He's just to see somebody that was used in that fashion get an opportunity to work at the higher level. He's going to, people can, I watched his match with Randy Orton from Backlash. That was one of the matches that I watched. I wanted to see how he performed, and he will get better being used in that role the longer he's in it. Because it takes, you have to understand people, a lot of guys up there, anybody, absolutely outside of maybe one or two people can go in there and work really long main event matches if they're given the opportunity.
Absolutely.
But most guys aren't given that opportunity all the time, and guys are put and I told you from personal experience where you'd go out and do 20, 25 minutes on live events regularly for years, 15, 20, 25 minutes, and then, you're regularly doing 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes on TV. That's just the way. And there's a lot of guys that even fall in, and guys like Heath Slater before he was in the tag team, and Curtis Axel and Bo Rotundo, and it just where they're used in Bo Dallas, in roles where they don't get to go out and showcase their talents. And they and you get in a rut because that's where you work, and you end up 5 days a week having to do 3-minute matches or comedy matches, and you lose that repetition of doing longer matches that sometimes maybe in developmental that you did or on the independents that you did. And so Jinder, he's now being put in a role that he wasn't in for quite a long time. I'm sure on the independents he's had longer matches and whatnot. So people have to give him time to get reaccustomed to that because he's been accustomed to doing shorter matches. Yeah. And not being in that, you know what I mean? So I think he's going to do nothing but improve and get better. And I'm happy for him.
I think you've said this before that nobody, and I've heard this before, that nobody's ready for the main event until you're just putting the main event.
Until you're putting it. Yeah. You just got to be putting it, and then you learn as you go. And it's like, if he fucks up, he'll fuck up, but he'll fix it. And it's not, they have their purpose for what they're doing with it, and it's cool. But it gives the guys at the bottom of the card hope that maybe one day they'll have an opportunity similar to that, and whether they will or they won't, you think it's about time.
You think it's false hope? Or you think that more opportunity will come of this, or no? Do you think that they'll actually?
I think if this is a huge success, absolutely. I think I think they'll. I think it all depends on how this goes.
Well, here's my question. Obviously, there's going to be a big, obviously, discrepancy, pay gap, whatever you can say between someone like Jinder, who just got this new position, and a Randy Orton. Now, I really wonder if you sit back and you look at the way, I don't know, live events roll out, even though obviously he's going to have someone to work with, or the way ratings, you know, if they stay around the same margin, if they go up, if they go down. But if I'm willing to believe that SmackDown ratings and Raw, no matter who they put in what situation, probably are going to stay around the same thing. Is that going to be a realization for WWE to think like, man, we've been relying on people that we have been putting in the circle, or been relying on, say, part-timers, or relying on, you know, the ones that we are the chosen people. Do we really need to do that anymore? I don't know. Do you think that that's going to kind of, I don't know if someone like a Jinder would ever wake things up like, you know what? We don't have to adhere to the people we just choose to put in these spots. We can actually make more new people. Or does it just go down? No, they prefer to have who they want to put in those positions. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I don't 100% follow that. So what you're saying, what are you saying right here, just so I can understand this and give a better answer?
I'm saying when they have like a brand split, you know, if you were to consider the top stars of SmackDown in the company's eyes, they would probably say Randy Orton, you know, and they would probably say AJ Styles is beneath that, but they would probably say Orton is the top guy of SmackDown.
Money guy, as far as top money, probably getting paid.
So say hypothetically, if Randy takes, you know, I'm not saying he's taking time off.
He's Cena, the top two, absolutely.
If Jinder works a program next with someone else and the ratings are the same thing, and say, you know, it's hard to kind of study how the trend's going to go, or what the, you know, but I'm trying to say is, do you think that they would ever take more opportunity or more chances on people? Oh, God, I can't find the wording for it. I'm just trying to say that.
Or if ratings improved while Jinder was working as champion, would that allow them to look at this and go, wow, maybe we need to start making more new guys? Like
pretty much. Yeah. Like, you know, if the live events draw the same with Jinder on top, working whomever. I mean, it's hard to say if he's still in the program with Orton, but if he works next with, God, who's an up-and-coming babyface? I don't know.
SmackDown is really limited on some of that, so
it really is. I don't even know if
I'm very happy for a lot of the guys, but a lot of the guys that are being used in better positions now are guys that they had used horribly for years, and it sucks because it takes a long time. And that's the other thing with the Jinder; it's going to take a long time to reverse all that. It doesn't happen overnight. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a process, and the longer he's in this role, the better things will be for him of erasing the old image. But it's just too early on but they have their reasons and everything that they're doing. So regardless of why they chose him, it doesn't matter. Like it's good to see a guy that was used like that for the majority of his career get an opportunity. And like I told you, they'll keep that going as long as they want to keep that going. Yeah. If they can allow them to make more money in India, that's what they're doing from a business decision, then they will make that work one way or the other. But I think the longer he's in that role, the better it's going to be for him.
I think so too.
And too, if he gets, you know, enough heat from that position and in the role that he's used, eventually when that babyface comes along that takes that title from him, it'll be a cool little moment if he gets enough, you know, time out of it. So
yeah, absolutely. All right. Oh, let's move on. You want to move on to reviews? I didn't get that in yet.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do some reviews this week. Reviews of the week.
All right, so let me pull this up on the old screen. So we have our logo changed. Here we go. 5-star podcast and customer service from Steven Solis. I've been listening to the podcast since the very beginning, and have you guys have provided me with hours of entertainment at work. Recently, I ordered some pre-workout from feedmemore.com, and there was an issue with my order being sent to the archives. I messaged the big guy about my situation, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised with how fast he responded to fix the situation. Ryback provided awesome customer service and was really great at making sure his customers get their products on time. Besides being an awesome podcaster, he is a great customer service provider. Thank you for reading my email, and I hope I hear it on this week's podcast. Man, that guy really loves you.
No, I remember that. I remember him. That was I got the emails directly come to my phone, so I get the alert when they go off. I check every single one. I try to get back there. I get some ridiculous ones on the which had a lot of hate from India this past week.
Oh boy.
Which I get really upset when they send it to my business email, where they like take the time and it's usually younger kids that are just misinformed. So, but yeah, no, you're welcome, Stephen. And I try to answer questions when I sometimes get some things from people that are just I can't give a reply to, and whatnot. But anything business related, and when if something is wrong from the customer service point of view, like I got to make sure that is taken care of. So, just doing my job.
All right. Next one's from Ken Cool Guy. I really enjoy the podcast. It's very different from most wrestling podcasts I listen to. I enjoy Pat's perspective on the business from the roles of being a trainer, performer, promoter. Until I started listening to the podcast, I've never heard of WrestlePro. Does it come to the Detroit area? No, sorry, we do not. I would love to attend a show this year. I like Ryback's unattended humor of past WWE stories. Most of his indie matches I do not see on YouTube often. Hopefully, it would be cool to see the big guy on TV again wrestling. But from a wrestling podcast perspective, but from listening to the podcast, it probably won't happen. Overall, great podcast.
What's that supposed to mean?
I don't know. I guess it sounds...
By me just having fun and talking honestly. And I think there's such a misconception that people... Like, I don't hate WWE by any means. Mm-hmm. And if one day I want to go back and want to have a phone call and talk to them, I will. But like, God, just having a podcast doesn't ban me. I would laugh if I was banned from there, though. That would be pretty funny. But I'm not.
I don't.
Last I heard, my stuff is still up in the mailroom. They got the Feed Me More face in the old WWE mailroom. So I go by that. That and when the WWE subscription network gets canceled, then I'll be okay. They're done with me.
It's serious then.
Yeah. God, fucking 35-year-old man. I'm not afraid. Like, God, sorry, I'm not a child and walking on eggshells. I apologize.
And I think that's the worst thing with wrestling is that, and it's because there's only one major company, but there's just no freedom for the guys to act the way they want to act. And that's just the way it is. Last review, podcast tag team champions from WFA Fidesz Productions. I've been listening to Pat Buck for years and enjoy his thoughts and opinions in independent wrestling. Ryback and Pat Buck, we're the podcast champions of the world. Yes, we're putting ourselves over. These are just the reviews that come in. We do this every week, so shut up, fans. Great chemistry, and every episode makes me laugh. The Big Guys Court needs to be on every episode. Best part, if you're in the Northeast, go to a WrestlePro show. Thanks to Ryback, I have a new reason to use shave butter. Keep it up. That one got me. I didn't read that one.
That's good. Any more, or is that it?
That's all I found for that. We did have a lot, and I apologize to everyone that's in England and Australia. We don't get to see your reviews. Please keep leaving them. There's a person on Instagram that's been sending me a couple, and I'll start getting into those. Maybe we'll start next week. So
London's one of our biggest markets. So, like, how do you get those where you could see those?
We're gonna have to have them sent to us because we have about like 250 in the States reviews, and there's about 50 in the UK that we've never seen, we've never read before.
I'm gonna have to pick a UK review eventually and just send some stuff out there because otherwise, I can't have that on my show, Pat.
Why don't you wait until the Amazon thing?
Along with your Amazon review, if you could send $45 for shipping, I'll make sure. I'm kidding. It's actually much more than that. Shipping is ridiculous overseas. That's why I'm glad to get everything on Amazon again and get the global shipping with Amazon Prime in Europe and Canada and Mexico and Japan, and it will make things so much easier with me. But I'm going to go ahead and go with. This is a tough one. Stephen Solis, I like the first one a lot because he talks about the customer service and everything, and that it's a very real thing. But I would like to give somebody another opportunity. He's tried the supplements, and I know he knows how good they are. So I'm going to go with number 3 tonight. If you could repeat his name, please.
WVA Fidesz Productions. So that's the name on.
If you could go ahead and email the big guy at feedmemore.com with a screenshot of your name and your review and your supplement of choice along with your home address or where you would like a supplement of your choice from Feed Me More Nutrition and a free Feed Me More Nutrition shaker bottle. And I'll get that out to you shortly. Thank you very much, everybody, for your reviews.
All right.
You know what I forgot to mention?
What?
Which you'll pop for this. Speaking of Jinder stuff, did I ever tell you when Ryback was undefeated, Jinder Mahal technically got the first victory over me on a live event, which wasn't televised, nor was it actually a true victory. It was the match was ruled a no contest. But
Okay.
it was during our program that we had very early on in both our careers in WWE, and we were working a live event in which Jinder, I think, dropped. I don't know if he dropped like an elbow or like going like kind of one of those Austin like forearms, but he came down and he nailed me with his elbow right at just the top of the head.
Okay.
And it was just one of those things, right amount of force, right spot, and it busted me completely open. And in which I didn't know at the time, but I felt it. I was like, oh, that kind of felt weird. And I sold it all around the ring for about 3 minutes, really selling that forearm, as I do every move that's given to me. And until the referee came over to me and said, you're bleeding profusely, in which I can then feel the blood just coming down my face. I didn't sell it for 3 minutes. I popped up immediately, you guys, and also went fucking right back. Just a huge gash in the top of my head. And I tried to get the referee to let us finish the match. He backed me up, and we got me to the corner, and he tried to get it to stop, and it's just pouring.
Pouring
just
blood.
type in bloody Ryback on Google or
I'm trying to find this picture.
Tell me what you just
Not
bloody
a lot of
Ryback.
things.
It should be a picture of my face. You'll just see up close with blood pouring down. I know it exists. I've seen it on there many times. But anyways, any luck?
No, nothing. Go ahead, keep going.
It's on there. Just search images of Ryback, nude Ryback or something. I'm sure it'll pop up.
Nude Ryback.
So the referee, though, he goes, I gotta throw the match out, and he rings the bell, and this match has been ruled a no contest. But the running joke with me and Jinder was that Jinder defeated Ryback by blood stoppage. If this was under UFC rules, that I technically would have lost, and it always made me laugh. But Jinder Mahal beat me before CM Punk.
What? Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. Oh, Jesus Christ! Type in blood Ryback on. Ooh.
Is that what? So wait, bloody Ryback doesn't show up, but blood Ryback does.
But blood Ryback does. I swear to God.
That's the fucking phrase. All right,
dude. That looks like a horror movie. Holy fuck!
It was pouring out.
It looks fake. It's so wow.
I would have been a great gigger back in the day. just fucking huge. Why the fuck did you cut yourself 7 inches across your forehead? I don't know. I'm dumb as fuck.
That's a hell of a fuck. What was I gonna say? It was that during one thing that makes me laugh. I don't know why, but I think it's so dumb and so silly. Is when there's blood in WWE and the fucking refs put on the Mickey Mouse gloves, as if that's gonna do something. It takes me so out of any okay, we're gonna treat.
It always
this
takes
cut.
forever to get those gloves on too.
It's always awkward, and then they're just calling stuff with the fucking gloves on. It's so.
I think they should just referee with the gloves on from the beginning. You should be prepared for the blood at any point. I would like to see my referees with Rod Zabata, John Cone, Bonsai. I would like to see them out there with the fucking gloves on. Just fucking go. Why the fuck not?
Just they really care about the talent.
Be prepared for the worst.
Those gloves are so fucking weird because it's hold on.
It always takes a minute to get the gloves on. It never is a smooth because they see blood. They freak out because instantly Vince is in the God damn it, get the fucking blood. He's freaking out.
Get him on.
And and they're just trying to panic. They're just trying to do their job. And God damn it, watch out for AIDS. You just holy shit, oh my God. But
let's break this down because if the cut happens, the referees are struggling to get the gloves on. But if the cut's not bad enough, they're not stopping the action. So people are still fighting.
The gloves on still.
But so they have the gloves on just in case the cut gets so bad they have to look at the cut and treat it so it doesn't get infected. but while they have it on, they're judging another person fake beating the shit out of that person, punching them in that area, kicking, and that's okay. It just doesn't
That's the time to cheat if you're a heel in WWE. When that ref goes to get those gloves on, you fucking kick to the dick every time. It's just fucking 1, 2, 3. That should be a fucking backup for every heel.
Oh my God!
No, the gloves are honest. It's a very good thing though, and they're doing the right thing with that. It's just it never goes smoothly. I feel like it's usually when someone bleeds, it's usually something pretty significant.
Yeah,
it's accidents happen out there and whatnot. So,
but I feel like it's more done for. I understand why the company does it, like not the illusion of safety, but kind of, hey, we're taking precautions in case someone's very hurt. But it's still funny to me if a ref's like, no, it's not that bad. I don't know. I don't know the rules. There's some fucking wacky, and they're always changing, but it always amuses me when those gloves come out.
Do they carry Band-Aids on them too out there?
I don't know.
If it's like a little minor boo-boo, and they're like, oh, I got to put a little Band-Aid on it. Like
Neosporin. I mean, I always have crazy glue in my bag because I've glued up myself and I've glued up people that have gotten injured on a show. I've glued up many of my wrestlers. Like a lot of them don't have health insurance. Oh yeah, I've done that. I've probably done it at least 30 times where I've had some crazy glue.
How's that work with the super glue on that? Like, I mean, is that sanitary?
Yeah, I mean, you disinfect it the best you can. Alcohol, bacitration. But if the cut, if it's at a point where it's not gushing blood, you just put a layer of crazy glue over it. It will harden. Falaba, he busted his eye at practice one time. Like it was just open, like eyebrow level. And I was like, look, I can glue this, or you can go get. And I don't know if he had health insurance at the time. I'm not sure if he did. Cleaned it out, glued it back. A little bit of a scar, but that's just what just happens. I've done it many times. I've done it for myself. I've done it for other, almost like a fake doctor. So yeah.
No shit.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible. I've never had to. I'm trying to think. I feel like I've used it on something, but not on my head. I feel like I had a pretty bad cut at one point where I used it like on my hand or something, and it did work. But I always wondered that just sanitary reasons how effective or how bad that was for you on that. So it's good to know that as long as you disinfect it, and it's kind of a makeshift way to get by.
Yeah, it's kind of a poor man's stitches if you. But then some things are better with glue. But then if something's bad enough, you got to get stitches. But yeah, I glued myself together in OVW when I fell in the cement. My chin was open, and that's when I started it because I didn't have health insurance at the time. And it worked. I had a scar, but crazy glue gets the job done on the old wrestling scene.
Speaking of just repairs, I go into the shoulder doctor next week for the stem cell, and I've noticed it's been 2 weeks since that last stem cell, 2.5 weeks now, and the cracking and the grinding that I was getting on a lot of different movements. The what?
It's gone? Or
yeah, I'm not getting it. Like it's not. I haven't noticed it at all the last week.
Wow.
And it's feeling really, really good. It's going to take. The cartilage has to be regrown in the shoulder joint. I have just enough supposedly, but I need to talk with the doctor next week and go over the scans and kind of get a timetable on how long that cartilage is going to take to totally be regrown, or if it can. But it's definitely regrowing in some parts because the grind. Like when I would shave the back of my head. With my right arm, I would get the shoulder would grind because it was just in the perfect position, and it wouldn't hurt, never hurt, but it's a weird feeling your shoulder joint just grinding. So I'm hoping to get some really good news with all that, and even if I have to get a second round down the road, I think I should be able to return in July, no doubt.
We need you.
I started weight training 2 days ago, super light training. I mean, I'm like 15, 20 reps, just super light. But it feels good to just be back in the gym and kind of just going through a routine again. And I got to be careful. They told me, like, until I see him. And I don't want to do anything to cause the shoulder joint, like no overhead presses to cause it to grind. Because I don't know if it will or not. But even if it's like repairing, you don't want it to be grinding and tearing up the new cartilage. I need that to kind of to get settled in, and I don't know how long that takes. So that's what I kind of got to find out this next week. I just want to feel good again because that's the only thing. And luckily, we exist in a day and age where this stuff is an option. Because I was talking, like I told you, talking to Buff Bagwell and like seeing him having his shoulder replaced, and he looks great still, by the way.
Buff does, really?
Yeah. And but he's torn his bicep, and it's just he was telling he did that just shooting a guy off. It's crazy how you just get injuries on the simplest things, and whatnot. But I was a man. I if I have control of anything, because anybody that's in the game of wrestling for any significant amount of time tends to have some sort of injuries or another throughout their career and whatnot. But we exist in a day and age where now with stem cells and stuff where we can repair stuff without surgery. So it's I'm very thankful for that and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to feeling good and getting back out there and selling a bunch of moves with my fellow independent wrestlers. Doesn't he realize he's a fucking independent wrestler himself? Yeah, that's why I said not all independent wrestlers. If you listen to the podcast, guys.
Just listen to the people that listen, if you see any shit like this, link them to the podcast. Do us a favor, send us a screenshot of it, and we'll appreciate that greatly because they're not listening to this.
Best piece of advice I can give to anyone: if anyone ever reads a headline on me, just come and listen to the podcast for that episode. That way, you can actually get the full truth and not just a little portion that they're trying to sell you on. But it's and that's all I could say about that.
All right.
Why don't we wrap up this week with a few tips of the week from the big guy? Tips of the week. Yay.
Sure, lay it on me.
All right. This is a book you're actually very familiar with Pat, that I have recommended to you years ago, but I believe I have not recommended it on the podcast.
Was the book I stole from you and never gave it back?
No, that was 48 Laws of Power. I reordered it, and I've got the condensed notes on it also. That book, I'm not a big fan of that book because it teaches you how to be a shit human being, which is what a lot of people say Vince and them run the company on, is 48 Laws of Power, supposedly. But I just don't. It's good to be aware of your surroundings and knowing that stuff. But my book of the week is Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsch. This is not a religious book, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't mistake it for that. Pat, you can attest to that. You've read the book. There's actually 3 of them, and it changed my life considerably. I consider it one of my all-time favorite books, if not possibly my all-time favorite book, even above The Secret.
I'm right there with you. I was raised, Catholic, Christian man, and the whole premise of this book, if you guys want to check it out, is that a guy has questions about his mortality or about life, how shitty it could be, and why certain things happen and why it doesn't happen. And he kind of the audiobook is actually narrated by Ed Asner and someone else, which kind of popped me. I'm an Ed Asner fan. But it just answers, it changed my views on God completely, not in a way where it's like, holy, let's worship him. It's almost a message of, I don't want to spoil the book, but that it's very empowering. It's that if you believe in a higher power, almost in a way that this higher power wants you to be a higher power, like wants you to be, it changed my perspective on things. Wants you to do what you want to do.
Inside each and every one of us.
Yeah. So I which is, definitely a, next to The Secret, that's one of my favorite books. So,
I remember you telling me how much you enjoyed it when I told you about that. I got book 1 on my Audible. I'm going to go back and actually re-listen to that one again because I want to re-listen to all 3 again, actually. I just remember outside of The Secret, this book having one of the biggest impacts on my life.
Yep.
And there is no right or wrong, only what you believe is really the biggest thing that I got out of that book. And I don't think you guys are going to be disappointed with it at all. So check that out, Conversation with God by Neil Donald Walsch. Quote of the week this week from the great Bambino, Babe Ruth. Every strike brings me closer to the next home run. And that's a quote. I have a few Babe Ruth quotes up on my wall at home. And this one I actually don't. But this is one of the ones that I like. And failure's okay. It's okay to strike out sometimes. just keep your head in the game. You keep stepping up to the plate. And Jinder Mahal, perfect example. You never know when you're going to get an opportunity to hit a home run. So that's the quote of the week. Nutrition tip, Pat. You're gonna. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna thank me for this one.
Okay.
I've actually held off on telling you about this. I didn't get it in last week, and I knew about it, and I was like, I got to get it in this week. A lot of people. This came recommended to me from Twitter by a guy.
Is this better than training? Because I've been training my taint since that one episode with
Is that why Lauren's been fucking singing in the background during this podcast? We took a break and Lauren's singing fucking gospel music in the background.
Maybe.
Those old taint exercises are really paying off. What's even better is my mom told me the other day that she was watching Sophie and Sunny, and she goes, "Oh, I'm playing the podcast for the dogs. They feel comfortable when they hear your voice." And
oh
I'm
my
just
God!
Like, oh Jesus Christ! Thanks. I'm glad you listen.
Oh boy,
cool. Like, don't listen to my fucking podcast. Now, nutrition tip of the week. So Dannon, is it Dannon, the yogurt company, or Dannon?
Dannon, yeah.
Dannon. They have a new Greek yogurt out. It's 000. It's no artificial sweeteners, no aspartame, no sucralose. And it's very low carb. Like, I think it's like 6 grams of carbs per serving. And there's only one serving. But they have like vanilla and like banana cream. They're Greek yogurt and they have the protein in them. But Greek yogurt's really good for digestion, and it's no fat. They taste amazing. It is like it feels like you're cheating. Eating.
Wow, really?
And what I've gotten the habit of doing is, because I try to keep my carbs under 30 grams a day. It's 30 to 50. Typically, I'm usually well under that. But what I do is every night I usually have one, sometimes 2 of those little the Dannon 000 yogurts now, the Greek yogurts, because it helps you too just with digestion and go in the bathroom and everything. Check them out. You will not be disappointed. Everyone out there listening, and Greek yogurt is so good for you. So, yeah, those are the quotes of the week. Yay!
All right. Well, you want to wrap it up here? I mean, shorter week. It's a holiday weekend. I hope everyone enjoys their Memorial Day when this comes out.
Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Absolutely. Be safe and have a great day.
You can follow me on all platforms on Buck Never Stops.
And I am at Ryback22 on Twitter, the big guy Ryback22 on Instagram, and Ryback247 on Snapchat. Thank you for listening, guys. You have just listened to another episode of Conversation with the Big Guy.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including all Feed Me More nutrition with coupon MEMORIAL25. That's 25% off everything at feedmemore.com, including Feed Me More nutrition with coupon code